right back, Charlie.
Smash the like button, people. Time street intro,
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on, Ian, the champion. We're back. We're going all the way to Wembley. In fact, listen, I don't know about any of that. I'm just happy to be finally back in the Champions League. Hopefully PSV later don't spoil our party, but where is my manners? People deluded. I'm back again. As usual, whether you're on YouTube, Twitch or Twitter, appreciative to all of you lot. It's a jam-packed day of content. We're not only doing a watch-along for, the full men's side against PSV. Our under-19s are in action, so join me at 12:50 for that. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Throughout this live stream, we'll go over all the sort of transfer news and waffle and all of that sort of stuff. We'll look at what Mikel Arteta has had to say on the eve of the PSV game. Any questions, talking points, points of view, they're all welcome. Need a new banger, man. Rinsing the same one in big 2023. All right, Marcel, send me your one, mate. Send me your one, lad. Allow me, man. I'm telling my son that I did it in the World Cup or the Copa America or something. Allow it, fam. How many other content creators can come out with these things? Marcel, you're just sour because, I know Liverpool never walk alone, but you might be walking alone today, mate. You're the big ones on Thursday. Have fun. Who's in your group? I've waited years to say that to you, mate. Smash the likes. It's all love, man. And appreciate you because you're always here. And big up to everyone who was part of my Champions League live streams yesterday, man, across Twitch and YouTube. Creeper, I hope you're doing well and safe. Live from Planet X. I have to big up yourself because, you're based in a country where the time zone isn't quite kind, so God knows what time it is, but I appreciate you and good to have you back. Of course, we're live CS, man. DG watch-alongs in the Champions League gonna hit different. I hope positively because I believe as Edu said, let's just enjoy the competition. Let's not put too much expectations. For me personally, let's make sure we get out the group, and then anything you do past that, it's all gravy, really. Should put a poll up, DG, Toney, or Ferguson. I believe I've got a poll up already, so I don't think I can actually do that. But Toney or Ferguson, it's a difficult one, really and truly. It's a hard one, if I'm honest with you, because I think Ivan Ferguson's going to cost a lot more money. I think Brighton are going to play a lot more hardball. I think, he's 18 years of age. So there's almost a 10-year age gap, really, between Ivan, Toney and Ferguson. There's a lot of, pardon me, development that Ferguson needs to do. Brighton might play hardball. I do what Ferguson would be lit, but I just think because of Ivan Toney's age, because of his contract, it's probably he's probably more attainable, really. So I would say Ferguson, but with everything considered, it's probably best for Toney. Realistically, you're going to bid 100 million, and that's just going to get a conversation started with Brighton. And as you know, every year they sell players for good profit. Even Basuma and McAllister that didn't actually break the bank when they went to Spurs or Liverpool, it's a handsome profit. Obviously, they've got the Cucurella, Caicedo, Benjamin White money. They know the Matomas and João Pedros and these kind of guys will be sold. So it'll be probably more difficult, really. Toney, it seems like Brentford are gearing up to sell him. Jay, the one love for tuning in. Appreciate you, Marcel. Big up, DG. I've always banged the drum for Toney. I think a lot of us has, man. I'm not hating. No Champions League nights for us, man. What do you expect? I hear that, man. I hear. At least you're fine. Ferguson suits the project a lot better. Obviously, he's young. I believe he's one of them regens. I think they made him in the same place they made Haaland, man. I don't think that guy has a birth certificate or anything. I think they're just, robots, really. I really like Ferguson. I like his ability to score goals. I like his physicality. I just think he's a really positive forward, really, and I'd prefer him. But as I said, Ivan Toney's got 18 months left on his deal. He's got a new agent. I think Brentford will probably welcome him back in January because it is quote unquote like a new signing, but at the same time, they've kind of had to cope without him. So there's probably been never a better time to get rid of him. I don't know if he'll actually leave in Jan. Must be buzzing to be back in the Champions League. It is, man. It is. I am better yet. I ain't gonna lie. I think you mean. I hope Toney doesn't go Arsenal because I support United. Hey, you got my man, Højlund or whatever. Think we should keep the same lineup, but can change Havertz, potentially Reece, but Trossard, I'm starting. We can change the left-hand side for rotation with either Tommy or Kirill. I hear it, and there is probably need for rotation this week. And I know PSV aren't as strong as they once was. They haven't got Simmons. They haven't got Cody Gakpo, and they're definitely missing someone else, Sangare. But at the same time, I'm not being funny, but this is the Champions League. It's our first game. I kind of want to play the strongest team possible. Go out there. I'm not really with this everyone get a game thing, rotation for the sake of it. Cool. Martinelli's injured. That opens up the door for maybe Trossard. I don't know if Trossard's able to play 2 games in a week. I do think Havertz and Ramsdale will be reintegrated back into the side. Personally, I think I would like to see if Ramsdale's going to be your keeper, if Raya's going to be your keeper this week. I'd like to see them start both games. Benjamin White, you're going to have to play because who else is going right? Well, to be fair, there is Tomiyasu. To be fair, you little Tomiyasu in the side in some capacity. I don't want both my fullbacks changed. I don't want to see Kirill and Tomiyasu, and that's not a diss to them. It's just going to kill the balance of things, really. We're in the Champions League. Let's just win the games, really. The quicker you win these games, the quicker you're out of things, really, and the quicker we can start to rotate. But we are going to have to start rotating. You've got a game every 3 days. No, for real, I've wanted Toney for time. Think he's the ideal striker to give us something different. Only forward to handle Saliba and hold the ball up against other centre-backs. Ivan Toney's mindset is top-notch. I'd love that at the club. We should go for Toney. Ferguson's going to be overpriced for Arsenal anyways. If it wasn't that, have a young player to transition from Jesus. Bro was made in a test tube. Exactly that, man. Toney in January, Ferguson in the summer, and sell Eddie, and we've got Jesus for the right-hand side with Saka problem solved. I mean, it'd be the dream, but probably dream chasing. I can't see us spending that because what are they saying? 60 million for Ivan Toney, 100 million, in my opinion, around that kind of region to get Ivan Ferguson from Brighton. Assuming it's 100 million, that's 160 million on 2 forwards, really. I can't necessarily say I see Arsenal doing that, if I'm honest, and I don't actually think there's a need. I mean, you'd love to be greedy and have both, but it's probably not feasible, if I'm honest with you. But I think Ferguson fixed the project more, but I think Ivan Toney's more likely to help us achieve things today, if that kind of makes sense, because of his age and his mentality and the fact that he's Premier League proven and all of that. So it is what it is. Vamos, my guy. Vamos. So with that being said, let's actually see exactly what's being said. Before we get into the Ivan Toney stuff, keep your things coming. We'll obviously see what Arteta said. PSV's form has been decent and they beat us last year. Like, we can't be rotating for the sake of rotation. Again, people, we will be doing watch-alongs today, so make sure you've hit the like button on such and turn on your reminders. There you have that. We will be watching the under-19s at 12:50, actually, so just over an hour. I think that's on TNT Sports. Before we get on with the transfer news, let's see what the gaffer has specifically said, people, on how he feels ahead of his first Champions League game as a manager. Proud and excited. It's been a long time for the club since we've been in the competition. And obviously, it's the first time for me as a manager, so I'm really looking forward to it. On whether that's the same for the players. If it wasn't, we'd be in issues. Somebody said Jesus or Nketiah tonight. Jesus for me, really and truly, if I'm honest with you. Yes, because we've been chasing it and fighting for it, and now we've got it. We have to make the most of it. It starts at home, and I'm sure our supporters are going to be really excited about it. And it's about managing that and enjoying the challenge. On Martinelli's injury, he didn't train yesterday, so we knew it wouldn't be a thing. But for what it's worth, he felt something in his hamstring, and we need to do some further tests to assess if there's any big damage or not. But he'll be out for tomorrow's game, that's for sure. On whether he'll be fit for the Spurs game, it's a possibility, but we don't know yet. We need some more tests and see what happens. Me personally, I don't think he will. Me personally, I'm rotating Zini and Eddie. We must win this game. Look how strong City were last night. We've already answered that. Big up, DG. Enough respect for the stream. Appreciate that question. Who do you think will be the main man to watch in our team and also in their team tonight? In relation to their team, don't really know, really, if I'm honest with you. In relation to us, Jesus. I just have a funny feeling Jesus is bagging for us today. I'd love for Saka, if he does start, to score our first Champions League goal again in recent years. But I think Jesus, man, I just have a funny feeling Jesus is turning up to date. People say we need to rest Rice for Jorginho. Bro, these men want to play in the Champions League. Every player who doesn't start or play is going to be gutted. You know, again, as Arteta said, I do think you need to rotate and rest and all of these things. And as we are in this period now, that's going to become a thing. But these guys want to play. If you want to play for a top team, you need to play every 3 days. I know Liverpool haven't had the biggest of squads, and Marcel's in the comments. Half of them guys were playing twice a week, really, and you need to be able to cope with that. Not just for us, the same goes for City. I'm not being funny, but what are we talking about resting people for? Like, because people are going to cry about these people needing rest. If the PSV game goes south, you're going to scream for these players to come off the bench. If anything, start a strong team, put the game to bed, take people off, really. We can bring Jorginho on in the 60th minute. Do we really need Toney when we have Jesus, who plays similar to him? We need someone with the mold of Ferguson. I think that's very different. I think that's different. To be fair, I don't really rate Lang, but Bakayoko is quite decent, a little young player, and we'll watch out for him. And Toney is similar to Jesus and Eddie. Is he really? We need another profile, Osimhen, Vlahovic. I hear that, but I wouldn't agree with Toney being similar to Jesus at all, if I'm honest. Eddie and 20 for Toney in it. I hear that. I don't think that's a thing. Ferguson just signed a new contract too. I swear Brighton are holding out for a minimum 120 million. So yeah, I would love Ferguson. If there's some way of doing that, we'd love it to get done, but we're going to get priced out. We've seen this movie before with Brighton. Carrying on with things, people. He said we've spoken about Martinelli's injury. On whether he'll say who will start in goal, as he usually doesn't divulge team news, he said it's the same answer. On whether he is confident on progressing from the group, that's what we want to do. But this is football, and tomorrow we're going to play against a really good team. They haven't lost a game this season, and they've won the majority of them. They are used to winning like every other team that is in the Champions League. It would be a really tough test. I'm so sure about that. They beat us last year. They're flying high in the league, so they've coped with some departures. It's the Champions League, like the best thing you could do in tournament football is win games, really and truly. So I'm not really a fan of resting for the sake of resting. And as much as I like the club and where we're going, we're still not at that moment where we can make wholesale changes and we don't see the knock-on effects. You know, again, sometimes if Zinchenko isn't there, we're screaming we can't create chances, which needs to be eradicated, really. I can't lie. I do expect to see 1 or 2 changes, but I want a strong team. I want to see Saka. I want to see Jesus. Personally, I need to see Declan Rice. To be honest, I would really like if Arteta went with Gabriel, Saliba, Benjamin White, Zinchenko, and between Raya and Ramsdale, I'm not really fussed. But you get the point. The nucleus of the team has to be there. Potentially even Fabio Vieira keeps his spot. And with Trossard, I'm not too sure if he's going to play 2 games in a week, but, you know, you should keep your spot as well. Would love to see Smith Rowe off the bench. As much as there's not a bigger fan of Haaland or Smith Rowe than me. Don't want to see you from the start. The same goes for Nelson. I want to see the Spartans first. You lot come and impact the game, if anything. But whatever team goes out there, do what needs to be done. You know, I know many people will say we've got an easy group and stuff, and they might not be wrong on paper. There's some difficult games. PSV beat us, and they're in decent form, doing what they're doing in Holland. Obviously, Lens finished second or third in France last season. Sevilla won the Europa League. And for me, it's not really the games at the Emirates. It's the games away from home. So any game we have at home in this group stage, let's just win that. The quicker you could get 3 wins, it looks wavy, really. 3-4 wins, it does it, really. You know, you get 10, 12 points, you're 30 to the next round. Then you can rotate. By all means, do what needs to be done. And I'm not too sure of how the rules have changed. But as we know, first and second can be the difference of who you do or don't face in the knockout stages, assuming we get there. So we can't underestimate anyone. On the importance of senior players who have played in the competition before, it's great to have that mixture and excitement it creates of playing for the first time. I sense it. We have players that have played in it for many years, and some of them have won it. Jorginho, Havertz. It's just mixing that experience and deciding to make your debut in the right way to perform at the highest level. On if he's surprised by the reaction of his goalkeeper switch on Sunday. No, because I respect opinions and I understand the questions and I understand historically what that means. For me, there's nothing different. We've been doing it for many years. When Leno is here, we brought Aaron in and I don't see any differences, but it is my job. I have to answer the questions in the best and most honest way. And as a manager, my job is to do what I feel is best for the team and for the club, but not for me. On the importance of our supporters tomorrow, we'll see tomorrow night, but I'm sure it'll be an incredible atmosphere and they'll create a special night. I've played in a few of them with the club and I have beautiful memories of them, so we're waiting for it. On the road, Odegaard has played in this rebuilding process. He's our captain and a really important player for us and a player who has developed, evolved and been on this journey with us together for a few years. He's been instrumental in everything that we've done and rebuilding the culture that we wanted and recruiting the profile and the players with the right specificity. I cannot say. I can never say it. But yeah, man, to play the way we want to play, and obviously then the level he has performed at has been in a really consistent way. Big up El Nene. He's the last remaining soldier from our last Champions League campaign. He's still young though. He's in a good place. Obviously, it's been a while and it's been a very significant injury, but I think he's in the latter stages of that rehab. You would have actually seen him in training yesterday if you looked at the training pictures. He's been in training for almost 2 weeks with the team and he's in a good place. It's always great to have him around, which is true. I don't think so far anyone can disagree with anything, man. I think Smith Rowe plays cup matches. If he doesn't, then boy. Toney is different, but he's similar to Eddie and Jesus. Similar is not the same. The position he takes up and hold up play, it just isn't an upgrade or a drastic change. I mean, I wouldn't mind Osimhen or Vlahovic, but kind of proving the point, really. In the modern day, you got to kind of play in them roles. That's why I think Ivan Toney would be a great fit for Arsenal, really. He's more hungry, in my opinion, to score goals than Jesus and Eddie Nketiah, and he's shown actually I can get 20 league goals. If you could bring Osimhen, that would be great. But if they're saying 120 million for Osimhen, we don't know what they're saying for Vlahovic. 1 minute he's allowed to leave, then his form changes things. Ferguson, you're looking at 100 million upwards. Ivan Toney, unless you can do the scouting thing, might be the most feasible, really. You know, out of all them names, actually, the most inexperienced one would be the one I would bet on, would be Ferguson, really and truly. Then I'd probably lean towards more so Osimhen. But then Arteta did want Vlahovic, so you must know he could be utilised. But I think Toney would be good for us, really, if I'm honest with you. And help us go from a team that got 80-odd goals to 100, man. Has to be Ramsdale today. For argument's sake, why? Big teams go for everything. DG, there you have it. Toney is one of the most well-rounded strikers available. Icy free strikers. If Toney lands, I'm here for it. Gang, gang, gang. Jesus might, I don't know, it might be 2.5. I think you've got a big enough squad to compete on all fronts, more quality in depth compared to last year, in my opinion. We'll have to see. What is it next week? We've got Brentford in the cup. All depends what we do in there. Toney is well different to our strikers. Come on, I hear that. Bring me Toney and Jan and Simmons in the summer. I mean, PSG would be crazy to let him go. They shouldn't even let him go to Leipzig. Tomiyasu's confidence is rising. I'm sure he can be class at left back tonight versus PSV. Toney is a must, in my opinion. Don't really like Vlahovic. Virgil never missed a match. He played twice a week frequently. There you have it, man. I'm not a fan of rest for the sake of being rested. It don't really make sense. Toney isn't a drastic change to Eddie or Jesus. Toney bagged 20 goals in the Brentford sides. He's more than a level raiser, a real aerial threat too, a certified pen taker, a good addition. And I don't want it to mean Jesus don't get the game time he deserves, you know. We can't mistake that. I'm a big fan of Gabby. And big up Eddie. But moving on, people, with what's being said, on If There's Nerves, we have to treat it like any other game. We are used to playing top opposition every week in the Premier League. And tomorrow, again, we're going to have a top side fighting against us. The good thing is that we experience that every 3 or 4 days in the Premier League. So it won't be any different. Now, on the response from Ramsdale, I don't want to talk about the response of every player in this squad, whether they play or not. Sorry, seems like Arteta is getting a bit frustrated there. On Fabio Vieira starting at Everton, I said many times that I haven't played Fabio enough and he hasn't had enough room in the team with the competitions that we played to participate more. But every day we see the talent that he's got and what he can bring to the team. I was really happy with his performance at the weekend. So does Kai Havertz have a fight to get his shirt? I personally think Kai Havertz is starting in the North London derby, but lovely to see. On juggling the Premier League and Champions League, to be happy, they have to play and they have to feel important. They have to feel valued and they have to feel that we trust them. It's the only way to do it. I will do that in the best possible way, maximizing them to get the best possible performance. That's it. To be part of it. Every time I watched it and we weren't there, I felt it. I think you put pressure on yourself. This club has to be in the Champions League. When I have the job that I have the responsibility to try to bring the club to the biggest stages, to the biggest tournaments, and then to be fighting for them. It was a process, but now we're here. We have to make the most of it. On our journey returning to the Champions League, I think it's a learning process. When you're looking to achieve, you have to take some lessons from it. I think we did that. We got better as a team. We did the right things as well to improve the squad. Now we are here. I think we fully deserve to be here. Of course, we earned it, really. But let's make sure that this ain't one and done and we're there for a minute. On whether we have something to prove in Europe, yes, we do. We're too big of a football club to not have won the Champions League. And to be fair, we've been embarrassing ourselves. When we was in the Europa League, we embarrassed ourselves in the final. We embarrassed ourselves against Olympiacos. We embarrassed ourselves against Atletico. We've been embarrassing ourselves in the Champions League. The last time we actually went out with a bit of pride is when we got done dirty by Barcelona, going all the way back to Highbury days. That needs to change. Let's be real. Yeah, so it is what it is. Every day we have something to prove. Tomorrow I have to prove that we have prepared in the best possible way and that we are giving the players the best possible chance to play as well as we possibly can to win the game. That's the reality of our sport. On stylistically, the differences between Ramsdale and Raya, it's not something I want to get into. I don't speak about how Eddie is different to Martinelli or Reece. Every player has a different personality and different characteristics. Arteta is getting bored of explaining himself, people. Um, I don't think that's how you spell Lozano, but Lozano went back to PSV from Napoli. It didn't quite work out, but that was a player once linked with Arsenal. Every player is dangerous at this level. Tomorrow we'll have a lot of things that we have to control, but I think the main thing is that we focus on ourselves and play at the level that we have to play to earn the right to win the game. I don't think anybody can disagree with what Mikel Arteta has said there. What's Jesus been saying in relation to the Champions League? It's different because I remember the times I missed school to watch and my mum got crazy. 99% of the kids I grew up with dreamed to play in the Champions League. Now I can say this, but at the time I couldn't tell my mum. I'm okay now, but kids, please don't do that. My family and close friends are very happy for me. They watch it and get emotional, of course. To hear the music and see the best clubs from all the leagues, it's a different competition. Yesterday, some of the players were putting the music on. Everyone is happy, not just the players, but the club and the fans. It's been a long time without playing in this competition. A club like Arsenal cannot stay without playing in it, so everyone is happy. He then went on to say, people, everyone here is already experienced to know how to control emotions and these kind of things. For some of them, it'll be their first time playing in the Champions League, which is a different competition. But I still think if you can play in the Prem, the toughest league in the world, you can play in the Champions League. All of the competitions and trophies we go to win in the Champions League is the same. Way, easier said than done. If we think the opposite, we are wrong. I hear that because we are playing for Arsenal. We have to believe and trust the teammates, the manager and the club and go for it. Amen. Amen. It's going to be an interesting one. They got Luke de Jong as well. So there's some experience, man. You look at the team the last time we was in the Champions League when we played Bayern Munich. Look how much it's changed. Big up Rambo. But my word, shout out Alexis Sanchez, not how you left. Shout out Xhaka. Giroud, you're still playing in the champs. Ox, I don't know where you are at this moment. Shout out Rambo. Monreal, we could do with you in the squad. Mustafi, let's say the better. Koscielny, quality centre half, but they say the way you disgraced the club when you left and how you treated us, I have to slander you. You got put in a headlock by a deer. You bottled it against Birmingham. You let us down against Atletico Madrid. You let the other Gabriel back your beef against Costa for Chelsea. Meady, shout out Bellerin. I mean, Ospina, I can't believe Arsenal fans used to rate him, but fair enough. We move in it really and truly. Moving away with that, play the majority, win the match, rotate when possible afterwards. I hear that. Vermin is a decent player. I guess we're going to learn. Ox is in Turkey. Ivan Toney can win you games, but I think he needs time to adjust regarding his link up. I hear that. Go do your swimming, my guy. I can't wait to see what the atmosphere looks like tonight. I don't think many people disagree with you. What I would say is I can't wait to see if we get 3 points. Arsenal and Chelsea make inquiries for Brentford striker Ivan Toney. Arsenal and Chelsea have held talks over a deal to sign Brentford striker Ivan Toney in the January transfer window. Allegedly, according to reports, Toney is currently serving an 8-month ban after he accepted 232 breaches of Football Association rules on betting and is unable to play for Brentford until January the 16th, 2024. The 27-year-old returned to training with Brentford on Monday, but has already been linked with a move away in January, with Fabrizio Romano claiming that both Arsenal and Chelsea have made inquiries. The Premier League is the priority for the player. Chelsea are well informed of the situation of the player, but also Arsenal are well informed on the conditions of a potential deal. So if we're informed on the conditions, maybe Arsenal do or don't do it. We might get the conditions and think, you know what, it's not value for money. We don't necessarily need that. We might have other focuses on addressing other areas in January. We just don't know really. But there we have it. In the summer window, there were reports that Brentford were claiming an £80 million fee for Toney, who scored 20 league goals last year. Ivan Toney's manager, Thomas Franks, admitted they will sell for the right price. I understand why there are a lot of rumours about him out there. For me, he's one of the best strikers as a striker, number 9. I don't see many out there who is better in the world than him. Of course, you have Harry Kane and Lewandowski and Haaland, these types, but not many. He scored 20 goals in the Premier League last year in, of course, a very good Brentford side. But of course, we are not creating as many chances as the top 6 or 7. So imagine him in the top team. He'd easily score 20, 25 goals. For me, I think he's composed. He's a good finisher, top mentality. So I understand why clubs are looking at him. But he's a Brentford player now. And if people want to come in today's market, the price of the number 6 position players, we all know goal scorers or attackers are the most expensive ones. I guess that would be very expensive unless it has changed and you pay more for a number 6 than a striker. I don't know. Are you indirecting us about Declan Rice? I'm not too sure. For what it's worth, Romano's also spoken on that and said, my information is that Brentford know the player wants to leave in 2024. We'll have to see if that will be in January or next summer, but we know that Toney appointed a new agent because he wants to try a new experience at a top club. We've got to remember he's contracted for another 18 months, so could afford to hold on to him in January, but in the summer probably got to let go unless that changes. Many clubs have asked about Toney, including Italian clubs, but staying in the Premier League is the priority for the player. Chelsea are well informed on the situation of the player, but also Arsenal are well informed on the conditions of a potential deal. Both clubs asked for information. Let's see if other clubs will join the race. But for the moment, I can guarantee that both Arsenal and Chelsea have shown this interest. Still, it's important to clarify that Arsenal have not yet decided how they'll act in January in terms of strikers. Of course, nothing will happen with Toney now. Nothing will happen next week. It will take time to see the price tag and all the conditions of the deal. So fans need to be patient because many things can happen on this story. But it is one to watch because the idea of the player is to try a new chapter in 2024. Smash the like button if you haven't done such already, folks. And also make sure you're joining me for Arsenal against PSV later today. And also in just under an hour, we're watching the under-19 shameless plugging. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Ivan Toney. That seems to be that. We've covered that. What else have we got? Thomas Frank this is probably the same things we've just read. I think every club in the world are a selling club except 5 or 6. We're a selling club. Well, we haven't seen part of this. I think it's the right time for the player. I think if it's the right time for the player to go, from my perspective, that is not my decision. That would be Phil, in brackets, director of football, or Matthew, their owner. In the end, then I think if they have developed well with us, been on the journey, and now they've proven good enough to go to the top clubs, then I think it's the right thing if it's the right price. Fair enough. Thomas Frank. I don't think you could disagree. As you know, people, he's changed agents and he's joined the same agent that once looked after Gareth Bale in his playing days. So we'll have to see. Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, a bunch of Italian clubs are all interested. For Ivan Toney, there's plenty of reasons to sign for Arsenal. We actually are moving forward as a football club. It's a competitive team. You've seen, at the Emirates how the atmosphere is improved. We've got a collective squad. For Chelsea, it feels like there's a spot for an out-and-out number 9. The same applies to Spurs, really. So it'll be a difficult one, really and truly, to see exactly what happens. We've seen that with Gabby Jesus. Apparently, Arsenal are reportedly eyeing a move for English teenage star Jamie Bynoe-Gittens, who you obviously would have seen come off the bench if you was here with the watch-along for Borussia Dortmund in their defeat to PSG. Hit the post. Decent player, 18 years of age, but got a long way to go, man. He's just come back from a serious injury. Formerly played for City and Reading. Obviously, being British, you're always going to have the Jude Bellingham thing, the Jadon Sancho thing over you. I don't think he's quite that at this moment. He's played 25 times for the football club, Dortmund, getting 3 goals and 1 assist. I do like him a lot, people. Apparently, he could be available for around 26 million, which if Arteta's ran the rule over him, fair enough. Between him, Nusa, Kubo at Sociedad, I need to see another winger arrive, people. What's Mikel Arteta said here in relation to Ramsdale? This can't be anything new. I think we've seen that already in the press conference. It's just they've been a bit creative. So, yeah, we've been linked with Gittens. Ramsdale is not contemplating leaving Arsenal despite being dropped for their most recent Premier League outing. Sources have confirmed to 90-minute people. Apparently, he is not looking to leave Arsenal. He's determined to battle Raya for the starting spot. I knew Ramsdale wouldn't walk away from a fight. Apparently, Ramsdale's reps have not held talks with other clubs about a potential transfer and are not looking to do so at this time, while Arsenal still see the England international as a huge part of their future. The situation could change if Raya is firmly Arsenal's number 1 by the time the January transfer window rolls around. Apparently, Chelsea are monitoring him and also Bayern Munich, but it's easy to say these things, really. For what it's worth, Ramsdale is not interested in leaving Arsenal for Chelsea, allegedly. Big up Aaron Ramsdale in that regards. What else have we got here? Balde staying over there. Nobody cares about what Harry Kane is doing with his career anymore. I mean, I know we're talking about Ferguson and Toney, but I'm sure we all look at Sesko over there at Leipzig, and he bagged his first goal in the Champions League. He's going to cost a lot of money, but that's one you would look at as well. We have previously been linked with Lautaro Martinez, and he's more or less said, I'm happy to stay at Inter Milan. He said there were several clubs keen on signing me this summer, but I'm happy at Inter. I'm the captain. I'm happy. I feel the club will work with my agent to agree on a new deal to keep going together. So there you have that. Thomas Frank also spoke about David Raya. We only sold David Raya to a PL club. It's a loan deal, but it will probably become permanent in the future. Romano said all parties involved believe that the buy option will be activated in 2024. Deal was only structured on loan due to FFP issues. So credit to Brentford for allowing us to to get around such people. Arsenal and Chelsea have asked for conditions on the potential Ivan Toney deal, Romano has said once again. What is being said here? Apparently, some of the biggest clubs in England and in Europe are eyeing Antonio Nusa, who I finally, before I came live, edited a video for me. Bring him. He's probably stronger off the left. He's 18 years of age. You know, he looks like one of the biggest Norwegian talents coming through. I don't know if moving to one of the big boys now makes sense, or you should go from Club Brugge to a Dortmund or stuff like that. But allegedly, when Club Brugge faced Besiktas on Thursday, a bunch of European club scouts, including Arsenal, Man United, Bayern Munich, etc., will be looking at such, and Marseille, Atletico have all been joined. Everybody's probably looking at it. Arsenal are also said to have a specific interest, while it looks like United are sending someone to see what all the fuss is about. I mean, Odegaard's over here. Bring your fellow countrymen, really. Arsenal are scouting 2 young players. I can't lie. Apparently, Arsenal scouts are monitoring Tyler Binden and Kylon Vickers, 2 promising players. I'm pretty sure Binden's the American 19-year-old centre-half. He's playing in League One. And Kylon Vickers is a more forward-thinking player. And I think Reading battered someone in the EFL Trophy. It might have been Exeter yesterday. Can see why they're being scouted, people, really. Reading have a decent academy. Unfortunately for Reading, half of their players are picked up by the bigger clubs, and then they keep it moving. As we know, Nusa decided to reject a potential move to the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea after breaking out as a star of the Belgian club Brugge. But again, people, he's once again being looked at by other clubs. So we'll have to see how that develops. Once again, people are running the rule over him. We've already seen Jesus with the love of the Champions League. Thomas Partey, once again, is linked with a move to Italy, but also Spain, people. Juventus now find themselves in a tussle with Atletico Madrid for the signature of Thomas Partey as they explore options to replace Paul Pogba. According to this report, Atletico Madrid are also keen on securing Partey's return to the Spanish capital. The midfielder previously made the move to Arsenal from Atletico, obviously after he triggered the release clause, but it doesn't say anything specific, if I'm completely honest with you. And Son's talking about he's fired a warning to Arsenal ahead of the North London derby. Bearing in mind, we've got 2 games this week. Spurs have 1. Let's just keep quiet. Arsenal won't want to face us this time. Everyone is running for each other. Everyone is fighting for each other. If someone comes off, you give a handoff, and everyone is happy to do that. That makes us really strong as a team. Ooh, Son. Ooh, scary. Ooh, big up Son and that. We're not going to talk too tough. Scary. It's absolute scary stuff. Are you excited about the Champions League? Amen. Of course I am, man. We're back in the Champions League and we'll be watching that later today. So, yeah, that's everything we've got out of that. Do you want Ramsdale in goal? Do you want to win the match? Arsenal is much better with Raya in goal. The earlier we realise this, the better. I mean, I'm happy with Raya in goal or Ramsdale, but I can't lie. I think we're doing too much. Whether Raya's better than Ramsdale is another thing, but we're drawing a lot of conclusions because, respectfully, Eugene, people like yourself, the minute Raya makes a mistake, they're going to do a complete 180. Raya's played 1 game, really. Ramsdale has a lot of faults, but there's been a lot of times he saved us. I've got no loyalty to Ramsdale or Raya. I want the best thing for Arsenal Football Club. For what it's worth, I would like Raya to get a little run in the team. I'd actually like Raya to start today and start the North London derby. Off topic, but DJ, I notice you don't do much collabs. I don't really see you on other channels much. Why is that? That's a bit harsh. We've done hella collabs this thingy, man. The last few days. But yeah, people, you know, reach out to people. They air it. What you meant to do, man? You just have to keep it moving. There's not one of these YouTubers, some that you used to see me do videos with and stuff. I ain't begging no one. But yeah, man, we just keep the train moving. Did Raya even need to make a single save against Everton? It's not his fault, but you're right, still. Way too reactionary. Man United don't have a scouting department. I doubt that. Toney defo wants Arsenal, but these Chelsea fans got to ruin everything. Where can we watch the youth game, DG? I mean, it's on TNT Sport. I'm pretty sure UEFA.com, if you've got the app, they'll be playing it as well. So, yeah, the tab police are on you, DG. They have to allow me, man. No way he goes Chelsea over Arsenal. If both go in for him, anyone can see Chelsea is a mess. Easy choice to make unless he wants 8-year crazy bag. I hear that, really, but the striker spot, if I'm Ivan Toney, I'd really want to sign for Arsenal at the moment. We look a lot more competitive. But who's really there to compete with you to play up front at Chelsea? Yeah, you got Nkunku playing as a false 9. He can play in other roles. Jackson, you can finesse his spot if you do it correctly. Bro, yeah, I don't know what they're on with that. You know, Lukaku's technically is he still on contract, but he's at Roma. It seems like there's an easier plot. Even at Spurs, that, bro, you can take Richarlison's spot. At Arsenal, of course, you're fighting Jesus and Nketiah. Arteta might one day just play false 9s. You never know. Goalkeeper switch is probably opponent dependent. And I do like having 2 good goalies, but I would like to ask Arteta, if there was a gun to your head, you needed to name Arsenal's strongest team, you're going to lose your life unless you get 3 points. Who's going in goal? That tells me who's the better keeper. And at some point, I know the game's going forward, but I still think it's not feasible to keep swapping goalies and swapping this guy. You don't allow defensive partnerships to build. But we need a competitive squad, man. Allow me. Tab police. Leave me alone. To your Ramsdale question, he has to start, as he'll be so on it. It can also shut down the journalists up for a bit. We've been bad at selling, so if we are to move on, he needs performances so we can't get bumped. I hear that. But he still technically played more games than Raya in the Premier League. I did think at some point your spot's going to get finessed, but he's played 4 times. You know, Raya's played once. So it was very predictable. I think everybody knew the minute Ramsdale hits the bench, like you're seeing Bayern Munich, Chelsea want him, he wants to leave, this, that, and the third. We'd have to see, really. I mean, what Arsenal have done is tied the man down to a new contract, developed him. So if he wants to leave, or Arsenal determined that we need to move on, provided we sign a decent keeper to compete with Raya, assuming that happened, it is what it is. Make decent money. Let's keep it moving. I think Smith Rowe starts. I'm not too sure, because surely at this moment in time, unless Smith Rowe is going to start off the left, I can't see Arteta, and I mean Arteta can do crazy things. I can't see Smith Rowe getting his first start in any competition for Arsenal today, much less as a rotating 8. I hope to be wrong. You never quite know what Mikel Arteta has planned and has up his sleeves. But yeah, is Toney confirmed? We've just gone through it, really. You know, I wouldn't say Toney's confirmed. Would you say Toney Jesus? Nah, man, big up Jesus. But I think Toney loves to score goals, and I think we're missing that. I prefer Ramsdale for the North London derby. I agree and disagree. Ramsdale, it means a lot. You're up for it. But I do think at the Emirates, Ramsdale kind of plays on the fans' energy a bit too much. I think Raya and Ramsdale are in the same realm. But I think one thing I like a lot more about Raya is his calmness. And I think that could be something to help us. Yeah, I see you on Rance's channel. That's about it. But big up to you, man. Keep doing your thing. You're smashing it. You got low supporters over here. Appreciate that, man. We work with other people, man. Don't worry. I'm not just in a castle. But yeah, man, the typical YouTubers, they're a bit... Smith Rowe starts in for Martinelli. Yeah, he's probably more likely to stay off the left, but it'll most likely be Trossard. To be fair, if you're Trossard, Fabio Vieira, there's every reason to believe you might be able to grab 2 games this game week, but I'm not too sure. Ramsdale is the most valuable keeper on the market. We ain't getting bumped. Value and being able to negotiate are 2 different things, man, but who knows? Respectfully to Brighton, we're a bigger club, but they swap their goalies all the time. Nobody's saying anything about that. There was a point where, you know, Pep Guardiola was considering dropping Edison for Ortega, who's also a decent goalie as well. The only keeper at City that isn't going to play is Scott Carson. He's there for the vibes. Brentford already in West London. Go to Chelsea. I hear that. Chelsea can have him. Better strikers out there. I hear that. Ospino, that is, you could never say Ospino was my guy. Horrible keeper. Ospino was a horrible keeper. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the way sometimes Arsenal fans bend over backwards, pause for some rubbish players, if I'm honest. Ospino, I don't want to do it because I think you're a cool guy, but Matt Turner, Pablo Marie, I don't know what's going on. Raya's got 3 more years experience than Rammers. What do you think of swap deals in Nketiah with Ivan Toney? I mean, unpopular opinion, I'd want to sell. I'd want to sell Nketiah outright. I mean, Nketiah could go there on loan. He signed a new deal, provided he wanted to do that. But I'd rather buy Ivan Toney outright or sell Nketiah outright, really. Big up yourself. Tavares, pretending that Tavares was good as well is crazy. Like, hope he could do his thing. We can't forget the transfer news propaganda. I don't know about the Toney thing being a reality. I think it's a case of creative journalism. Until we see people holding shirts, until there's medicals, until it's actually the period and the climate for transfer news, which it's not January. Obviously, the majority of deals that you're probably going to see happen in the summer, just like I said last year, people are talking with agents and advisors and all of these things at this moment. Ramsdale goes for 70 million easy, but where? Don't watch Monaco highlights. Balogun has already been cooking on high heat already. Big up Balogun, man. May he develop to the best standard. If he is sold on from Monaco, we've got a 17.5% sell-on clause, did the article not say? So everyone's a winner, chicken dinner there, in it, really and truly. I would have loved to have seen Balogun stay at the club, but our hands were tied, in it, or someone's hands was. With the goalkeeper situation, we can't keep swapping keeper in the Champions League and League. We need an undisputed number 1, either Ramsdale or Raya. Do we have a buyback clause on Balogun? Nope, not to my knowledge, but we do have a sell-on clause. So I hope that works. But yeah, I would rather sell Nketiah outright and buy Ivan Toney outright, really, if I'm honest with you. Toney's got 18 months on his deal. You might as well just buy him, really. Surely it's there to be done. Easy 10 mil-ish. Fair enough, really. I hope Balogun does a madness, but it's down to him, really. I mean, Monaco's a lovely place to live. It's a lovely club to play for. Pick him up, really. Fans can be way too reactionary, but it is what it is. We've seen it before, man. A week's a long time in football. So I can only imagine the different crazy takes football fans make week in, week out. Not sure Arsenal would put up 45 million plus for Toney. And that's the thing. I don't think we're going to get Ivan Toney for what it's worth, but we have been buying players from the Premier League. Didn't Team News and Tick say his priority is to join Arsenal? Big up all the in the knows and that, but I don't know, really and truly. I can only deal with what's in front of us at this moment. Which midfield will Arteta go tonight? I think Mikel will choose Rice, Havertz, Smith Rowe, in my opinion. I hope it's Martin Odegaard, Rice, and one of Fabio Vieira or Havertz. I do think Havertz will start against Spurs in the North London derby. Fabio Vieira might get another opportunity. I would like to see Smith Rowe get a start, but it has to come off the left-hand side, and I don't think it's that. And I think the right decision at this moment in time is to go with Trossard. If I'm honest, like if I was picking the team, I'd probably go with Raya, Benjamin White, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, Odegaard, Rice, Fabio Vieira, Trossard on the left, Saka on the right, Jesus through the middle. Tomiyasu, I guess you could come in for Zinchenko if it's not that deep, but I want 3 points. I won't lie. Toney would be a game changer, but I doubt we'll land him. Raya, easy number one, shout in the circle. Everyone keeps saying we can't swap goalies, but if it starts to work and we go on to win the league and Champions League, we have to be open to what is in the art of possible. Bring it on, man. Full strength, starting 11. He has no choice. Got to win tonight, and we have time to recover. True. But spare a thought because Spurs got a full week off, really. Imagine my preference for Ramsdale is the same reason as why DG would prefer Raya instead. I find Ramsdale prodding the crowd is hella entertaining. It is, but I love Ramsdale. I think he's a good keeper. I just think he's too emotional sometimes. I think he's a lot better. Like, Ramsdale would more make mistakes. Like when Raya started against Everton, Raya basically had nothing to do. I think if that's Ramsdale and the game went the same way, them kind of games, I think Ramsdale's more prone to making mistakes or switching off. I think Ramsdale's a lot better when he's under constant pressure and things, and I think he could be too emotional. I think Raya has that calmness, and I just want to see what Raya's about. The more that Ramsdale is starved, really, because he had to be patient to take Leno's spot, and now he's been playing week in, week out. The more he doesn't play, when you get that chance, you're going to want to grab it, really and truly, because there were times Ramsdale could have been dropped last season. Respectfully to Matt Turner, you can't talk to Ramsdale in this goalkeeper thing. You're nowhere near him, really. And I just like that calmness, really, from Raya. So I'd love to see him. What's your opinion on Fabio Vieira's performance against Everton? In my opinion, he was a standard 5 out of 10. He made good runs, but his decision-making needs improving. His decision-making, he's a bit too trigger-happy in the final third. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Denied an assist, but I think it was an encouraging start. Don't feel he pulled up any trees, but, not to get at Havertz, but he did a lot more than we've seen Havertz in an Arsenal shirt currently. So I think it was something to build upon. And I don't know if Arteta is telling the truth or not, but when we just spoke about the press conference comments, Arteta said he was happy with his performance. So who knows, man? He might get another start. Raya tonight, Ramsdale against Spurs would be my guess. Arsenal should have gone for Felix instead of Havertz. But I don't know if we would have played Felix as an 8. Think Arteta should double down on Pep and Wenger ball now. Trossard and Fabio should play. I hear that. Interesting comments from you lot. Keep them flowing, people. Is there anything else Arsenal related? Let's go and see. We know our under-19s are in action. We'll be watching them in 50 minutes, actually. Don't appear that there's anything there. What's wrong with a 5, 6 out of 10 consistently and you get wins, man, acting like they bang PB in the gym every visit? There's nothing wrong with it in general. I don't know if you're talking about that comment there or mine, but I just think he gave the manager some faith. I don't think he pulled up any trees. But it was still more, once again, than anything I've seen Havertz. Man said, pick up the in the nose, but I don't know. Exactly that. I don't know. I'm sure they know. They've got sources and things, no shade, but I don't know. I'm sitting here with like you lot reading these things. I don't know. All these guys got the information. I just sit back, relax. If people are not holding shirts and things, I'm happy to entertain conversations, but that's as far as it could kind of go. Really and truly. Score predictions for tonight, 2-0 Arsenal. Rate our start to the Prem out of 10 DG, not the results, the performance and the chance creation, I mean. Chance creation, 6, 7 out of 10. Performances, I'll give it an 8, 7, 8. I think for the vast majority we've done well. It's just defensively there's some issues. Oh, man. So, yeah, big up yourself, Manny. Smith Rowe should be starting. Watch team training. It was really good seeing his skills. Don't think he'll get the start. I think Felix is a bit too emotional in games, to be fair. Nice start to the season. What would your bet on top 4 be ranked from first to fourth? No clue on ranking, but Man City, us. I'd throw Liverpool at this moment in time, and then it's free game. But really, you know, it's truthfully, is I think Arsenal will be in the top 4 again. But the only one you could really put money on is City, innit? They're an assurance. Everyone else, it's down to what they're doing or not doing. I'm 5 out of 10, my guy. I think we've been a bit better than that, but I hear it. Who scores tonight? Jesus, Trossard, Saka. Oh, 2 of the 3, because I said 2-0. Fabio type of player to come up with glimpses, final pass, overall performance, levels over 90, not there yet. It's building blocks. One thing I like about Fabio Vieira is you look a lot more confident. You know, you looked a bit too wasteful collectively, I think, against Everton at Goodison. We was a bit too wasteful in the final third, bit too trigger happy, but Fabio weren't doing that a year ago, better yet. So I like the fact that he's got confidence. He's had a pre-season, which, you know, when he signed for the club, he was in a protective boot. Starting to impact games a bit better. There's a player in Fabio. It's just about, you know, keep doing what you're doing, really, and taking it to other levels. The team I think Arteta will go for tonight: Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Rice, Havertz, Smith Rowe, Saka, Jesus, Trossard. To be fair, that's enough to get a result. Or it has to be, really and truly. I'll say Spurs over United or Chelsea. I don't want to ever positively praise them lot down the road, but they do look good under Postecoglou. Hopefully somebody takes their unbeaten run off them and it starts on Sunday. Vieira versus Everton, that was his best performance defensively so far. On his toes, sprinting back, nice touches to take the ball away from ops. Style, a 6 out of 10, but defensive improvement is vital. I wouldn't quite agree with his best defensive performance, but I hear that. And to be fair, I do. It's unfortunate that, you know, we was robbed of that goal because Eddie allegedly was offside, because that's that Fabio Vieira Martinelli connection. And also we was robbed of seeing them two link up a lot more because unfortunately Martinelli was injured. Forest, Palace, Fulham and Everton performance unconvincing, and United we were a Garnacho offside by tag paper from losing. I hear that bit harsh on the Crystal Palace one. I disagree with the Crystal Palace one because I think that was probably that half an hour being down to 10 men. That was probably our most collective best defensive performance and where we showed the most maturity this season. I think against Forest we had the lion's share, but made it a bit nervous on the transition. Fulham, it was crazy, as you said, rightly so. Everton, I'm kind of cool with the Everton performance. United, again, them frailties defensively. Forest, I just think it was just lacking a bit more. Palace, I think that's been, as I said, I think that was the best half an hour I've seen from Arsenal so far this season because that was the most confident I felt, even down to 10 men. And I still don't know what it is. It seems like when we travel away from home, I'm a lot more confident in our performance. At home, it seems like there's a bit more drama, a bit more lapses in concentration, whether that's because we're a bit more on the front foot, the crowd, the games are a bit more crazier. The players, in a nice way, they're complacent because they know we're never cut somewhat fully out of games at the Emirates. I don't know. Fabio's playing style is similar to Bruno minus the pool ball retention. He's good in tight spaces. Fabio's an Arsenal player. It's just about bulking up a bit physically and just keep doing what you're doing, really, and take your chances. And big up Fabio for tracking back. So, yeah, man. Have to see, man. Have to see. But with that being said, people, just because I'm aware we're going live in quick maths, 40-something minutes, and we're watching Arsenal's under-19s, I'm going to end this stream. If you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you've done such. As usual, appreciate you lot's talking points, differences of opinions, etc., etc. Join me at 12:50. We'll be watching our youngsters, our stars of tomorrow in the youth gen. And also at 7 p.m, I'll be joining you lot for our return to the Champions League, people. So, yeah, and of course, on the weekend, we've got a North London derby. So, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Smash the like button and all that good stuff. One love.
There's always just that accurate red light defenders. I think it's like Because you always used to act very bad, defending.